What's up, Epic 7? Welcome to this week's Hall of Trials video. This week we are once again fighting the Rampaging Harsetti. Now, as much of a pain in the butt as it is to fight Harsetti everywhere else in the game, in Hall of Trials, she's actually not that bad. This is one of my favorite bosses to fight because the RNG is low and the ability to score consistently high is, well, high. So, let me go over some of the basics of the Harsetti fight. So, make sure you're set on the super hard mode, and the things you're going to want to know for this Harsetti fight are you're going to want to have a thief in the back row. Placing a thief in the back row, you will get the Thief's Mastery Enhancement, letting her hit harder, giving her the Eye Catcher unique buff. And you want to have 2 or more fire heroes on the team to get the increased attack and speed. So you want to make sure you have at least 2 fire units on the team, and you need to be able to remove barriers. Now, what you're going to need is 2 stripping skills on 2 different units that are attack-based skills, right? Non-attack skills like for example, ML Luna would not work. It's got to be an attack-based skill that strips. And then, of course, you need somebody to keep your team alive. Now, you got a lot of options here, but first, this fight is clearly written around Tori. So you've got a lot of options here, and I'll go over each one, but let's discuss the gear that I have on these units. So first, we're going to run Elena. Elena is going to be our Soul Weaver in the front because, well, 1, she gives an attack imprint to the back, and 2, she can wear Doctor's Bag for extra healing, plus her gold shields can help keep her alive. Her passive healing is great. Another option would be Rowana. If you run Rowana, you're going to be fighting against debuffs a little bit more, but her healing is very strong. Another option would be DN, but if you run DN, you're probably going to need to Bloodstone or Death Card a couple of your other units to stay alive. As far as Elena goes, tanky enough to stay alive, enough speed to take turns. I think she is overtuned on speed, and her tankiness is, you know, about right. Could maybe be a little better, but this will get the job done. Now, like I said, if you don't have or don't want to use Elena, Rowana is a substantially better healer and will keep you alive. You probably aren't even going to care about the stigma and burns and debuffs because she's so good at this. And, of course, DN is another option to give buffs, but I don't have any imprints on her, and you're relying almost solely on her artifact to stay alive, because remember, DN doesn't have any built-in healing in her kit. You're just relying on her barrier, so if you do decide to run DN, give it a shot, especially if imprints in her, but make sure you pack extra sources of healing, maybe Bloodstone on your Ranger or Death Card as well, something to keep you alive in this fight. So next is we need a second fire unit that can also strip, so the logical choice for me was Knockwall. Again, you can put Bloodstone or the Death Card on your Knockwall to give you some additional healing if you feel you need it. I think with Elena on Doctor's Bag, we were fine though, so I went ahead and put a damage boosting artifact, Card of Small Miracles. You could also run Super Duper Water Gun Shooter as a additional source of damage. As for how you have her built, make sure you got her imprint off to give attack to the back row. Build her as fast as you can. Make sure she's a 100% crit chance. All your units need a 100% crit chance in order to be able to do maximum damage, because critting in the break phase is how you give stacks to the back row. So even your Soul Weaver, even your Elena, 100% crit chance. Now I'm going to run Faithless Lidica as my second option for stripping. I put her on Bloodstone. I really think I could have gotten away with Warhorn or Super Duper Water Gun Shooter for extra damage. I think I kind of left some damage on the table, but you know what? Bloodstone kept me alive a little bit easier in this fight, so you got to make that decision. If you think your Elena is a strong enough healer, go for it. Otherwise, Bloodstone or the new free artifact Death Card will help you with that. Alternates to Faithless Lidica would be really any unit who's got strips. You could use Ida, she's got strips and lots of AoE. You could use Ran. You could use any mage on Elia's Violin. If you really want to add some RNG to it, you could use Fire Haste, has got a strip on his S1 and his S3. Fire Haste also brings heal, so Fire Haste is a good option as well. There's a lot of options. As long as you have 2 units that strip, everybody's got 100% crit, and all of your units are fast enough to get 10 hits in before your nuke unit, which right now we're running Tori. She is best in slot for this. You run her base speed, put her on the Cruel Mistress artifact, and give her as much damage as you can. Remember, during the break phase, The boss has 0 defense, so Pen does nothing for you. So I went ahead and put her on Torrent. Was a little bit worried about her health, but because of her barriers, it worked out just fine. Now, I am sitting at 99% crit chance. I know it was a little bit risky, but I'm going to go ahead and chance it. Not 100%, it's 50%. I get it, but you know what? This build was so hecking strong that I decided to run with it. So this is what I built. Now, you can try a rage set. I do think because of the multiplicative way that damage boosting stacks, you're going to get more mileage out of a Destro set than out of a rage set, and you don't have to worry about getting, you know, blind or some other debuff on Harsetti, who is immune to pretty much everything that's not blinds, bleeds, or burns. So if you decide you want to try a rage set, go for it. I really think you'll get more damage out of Torrent set, though. Now, I have heard some people say maybe Spirit Eye Selene if you're going to run, you know, 2 other fire units on Dust Devil. It would be interesting to try Tori on Dust Devil, but you're throwing a lot to RNG in that place. And the other alternative that I've been recommended is Janua. He can work, but compared to Tori, the damage just isn't going to be anywhere near the same. But if you don't have Tori, give Janua a try. Let me know in the comments section how he works out for you. Just remember, your damage back row thief, base speed, all damage. And that's it. Well, let's see how the fight works out. Alright, so at the start of the battle, Harsetti does her big attack. This will do a good chunk of damage to your team, but even without Elena, you should be able to tank it just fine. If you're running Elena, you'll heal it all off, especially with Doctor's Bag. Now, the nice thing about this fight is it's all S1s. You can literally turn it on auto and turn everyone's skills off and ride it all the way to the point where she gets a shield, and that would work just fine. If you want to manual it so you don't accidentally mess up the introduction into the phase, you can go ahead and use S1s. Now, you do get these stigma debuffs on you that reduce the amount recovered. That's one of the nice reasons for Elena is her S1 cleanses that off of 2 units, and her S3 will cleanse all those off everybody. So she's really good at keeping the debuffs off of you, allowing you to heal, especially if you're using Bloodstone, allowing for Bloodstone artifacts to work better. You can see with this, we got almost a 2k heal out of that Bloodstone. Now, if you're running Rowana, you aren't going to be able to cleanse those stigmas, but I'm telling you, even though it reduces the amount recovered, Rowana heals so damn much. You will be fine running it without worrying about cleansing. So if you're struggling or you don't have Elena, try Rowana. Elena got hurt pretty bad there, but her self-cleansing and the heal took the edge off. You notice our heal here is only 900. That's because of the stigma, so we didn't get that much out of Bloodstone, but we cleansed it away, so we're back in good shape. Just keep doing the S1s. You get to the point where Harsetti is 1 away from her ultimate. Once that happens, she will fart this big pink cloud at your team. Once you get coated in that glitter, she will proc her barrier. Now, you see the big Roman numeral 2 up there? We need to cycle around so that our strippers can do 2 strips. They've got to be an attack-based strip. Non-attack skills won't work here. So you want to use your 2 strippers to remove the barrier. So for Knockwall, that's going to be our S3 skill. And you can see that takes the barrier from a Roman numeral 2 down to a Roman numeral 1. So now we need 1 more strip to fully remove the barrier, or to have the barrier no longer be an unbreakable barrier. So we just S1. Now it is Faithless Lydica's turn. Her S2 skill is her strip, and you'll notice that takes care of that Roman numeral run. Now the gold glows off the barrier. Now, as long as somebody has the super strong attack skill, they'll be able to break the barrier. Now you notice Tori has got that attack skill, but since she cycled a turn, it's only got 1 attack, or one round left in it, so make sure you don't use your S3 skill or you'll cycle off that damage booster and you won't break the barrier. So we're just going to go right in raw with our S1, breaks the barrier. Now we're inside the break phase. Now, things about the break phase: every time you hit and do a crit, you add a stack of damage to your back row thief. 10 is the maximum. You want to be able to do 10 hits before Tori takes a turn. This is why you want a really, really slow Tori. Now, it doesn't matter who you hit, the Crystal or Harsetti. As long as you hit somebody, you get a point into your damage. Now, what is important to know is that you can only hit the crystal 3 times before it stealths, and you can only hit Harsetti so many times before you push out of the break phase. Every attack into Harsetti is going to do like 13%. So we're going to attack the crystal. That's the second attack into the crystal. You'll notice the third attack here. Let's see. Yeah, you notice this third attack here into the crystal, puts the crystal into stealth, forcing us to hit Harsetti. When we hit Harsetti, she's going to lose 13% of her HP bar. Once that HP bar is all the way full, she leaves the break phase. So you need to make sure that you leave a little meat on the bone for Tori. Now, Elena can do an AoE hit that exposes the crystal, so we can start hitting the crystal again. We've got 6 hits on Tori, 7 stacks on Tori. We'll go ahead and get an 8th stack on Tori. Crystal is stealthed. We can use Flitica to take the crystal out of stealth. That is 9 hits on Tori. There is 10 hits on Tori. Now, we left a lot of meat on the bone, right? There's only 39% of that HP bar. We could have hit Harsetti a few more times to get a little extra free points. We probably cost ourselves about 1,000,000 points, but here's where your giga big damage comes from. This is what a 10x Tori is going to do. Watch this damage from 1.9 million to 15 million, over 13.5 million damage in one hit. That's where most of your power comes from. So now that we are out of the first break phase, it's lather, rinse, repeat. We just do this 2 more times and we're done. So once again, back to just using our S1 skills on Harsetti. So there's 1 hit, 2 hits, takes us down to 90%. Remember, we just got to get her down to 50, and it doesn't matter how hard you hit her. Every hit takes 5% of her health away. 75%. She hits. She gets an extra hit. This is where Rowana would heal everybody up. Pop damage, cleanse the stigma. Our Elena's looking a little bit threadbare. Hopefully this heals up. We got about 1,200 hit. Yikes. Don't die, Elena. Okay, thank goodness her skill cleansed, and this will get rid of that last stigma so that now we can get a decent heal out of Bloodstone. We're down below the 50% mark, so we're good. She's getting ready to take her turn, right? This is where she's going to fart her big pink sparkly cloud at us, and we'll be into the barrier phase. Soon as Harsetti gets a turn, 35, 30, Harsetti goes. There's the cloud, and there's the barriers. So now we just need our 2 strip units to remove the permanent barriers. Knockwall's ready with her S3 for our first strip. There we go. And you could S2 here if you want for the speed buff. That can be kind of useful, but I want to save that for inside the break phase. So we'll just S2 with Flitica, get rid of the last barrier, and just some random hits. We're just waiting for Tori to take a turn. No need to S2 yet. I don't really want the speed buff till we're inside the break phase, so we'll save that for later. And that stigma is going to hurt us on the heal. Only 1,200. Cleanse. Another hit. And Tori is ready to push phase. Now, she does have 2 turns left on the skill. You could S3 here and then S1, but there's really no reason to, right? We'll save the S3 for later. Let's just push into the break phase and go. And we're in. Now, just like last time, 3 hits to stealth the crystal, 13% damage per hit into Harsetti. You want to do some damage to Harsetti this time. Let's try to extend the bar out a little bit further. So we'll start with an S3 into Harsetti. We got our 13%, but hey, we got points. You don't get any points hitting the crystal, and not hitting the crystal leaves a little meat on the bone for other weaker units to hit into to make sure we don't over damage here. Now let's see. I should have S2'd here to get the speed buff on Knockwall, but that's okay. We're just S1ing. The crystal is now stealthed. We can use the S3. That'll pull the crystal out of stealth. And an extra turn. So we'll use the S2 for our speed buff here. We'll go back to hitting the crystal just to be safe. We don't want to over damage. We got a ways to go. 5 stacks on Tori and still a bit to go. Here's an AoE hit. We're up to 7 stacks on Tori. We've got plenty of time to hit Harsetti. So there's 8 stacks on Tori, 9 stacks on Tori, and the last hit... Yeah, I mean, may as well hit Harsetti. Points are points. We got plenty of room for Tori to get our last hit in. So there we go. 78%. That's a pretty full bar. We only had room for one more hit on Harsetti at this point. We'll go ahead and S3 for our buffs. And now we can drop our big attack. Let's see how much we did. 13 million last time. Let's see how much we do on phase 2. Remember, the damage is higher in phase 2. 17.6 million points. We're already up to 35 million, and it's only the end of phase 2. We got one more phase to go. So just like last time, we got to push all the way to the phase. We'll just use S1 skills on our way there. So let's see. Everybody's full healed. We'll go ahead and drop an S2 here to give us a speed buff. That'll cycle Harsetti even faster. Everyone else can just do S1s. S1 here. We get an S1 out of... Elena. Harsetti's ready to go. I could S3 and get the extra turn, but we're really not starved for damage here. Let's just stick with our S1s. Stick with the original plan. Ouch, that's a lot of damage into Elena. Okay, hopefully this Bloodstone heals a lot, even though there's stigma. Hopefully it takes the edge off of Elena so she can survive. There we go. It wasn't a lot, guys. My Elena's looking kind of threadbare. Another hit. I'm worried my Elena might die here. I'm really worried she might die here. And we haven't had any problem balancing the bar inside of the break phase. I don't think I need her AoE. So we're going to go ahead and use her S3 here just to make sure she survives. Maybe we don't need it, but I think it's the smart move. That'll get rid of all the stigmas. That'll let this heal up quite a bit more. There we go. Hit. Yeah, I think that was a good move. I think Elena might have died without it. Now she heals up, cleanses everything. We're in good shape. The next round Harsetti goes will give us the cloud, and we'll be able to push into the break phase. So we'll just do an S1 here with Knockwall. Another hit from Elena. We're down to 45%. We're well below the 50% threshold, so it's just stalling for time. Bloodstone heal, another hit, one more hit, and Gassy Harsetti hits us with the pink cloud, and we've got the barriers. So now we need our 2 strips. Flitic uses her S2, removes one of the barriers. Knockwall uses her S3, removes the other barrier. Okay, now it's just a waiting game for Tori. Once Tori hits, we'll be into the final break phase. We'll get Elena to hit and Flitica to hit. I think Knockwall probably cuts. Yep, Knockwall cuts. One more S1. And Tori is ready to go. Once again, we have 2 turns. We could S3, but I don't really see any reason for it, so we'll just drop this S1 in here. And there we go. Into the final break phase. Let's really try to rack up some points on this one. Let's see if we can push Harsetti's barrier, our HP bar, all the way to the end without going past it. We'll go ahead and S3 here. That should be some pretty good damage. 17k damage, not bad. And there we go. We're stealthed. We'll S2 for the speed buff. And we'll S3. This is AoE. This will knock the boss out of stealth. S1. Another 13k damage. We're 52 HP on the HP bar. And I think we're okay. I think we can do a couple more hits. Let's be safe. We're going to S2 the crystal just to be safe. Get the speed buff. Well, AoE, that'll be 78. We can do one more hit into Harsetti. And it looks like Elena's going to be the only one to go, so we'll go ahead and do this hit with Knockle since she hits harder. And there we go. 91%. The next hit on Harsetti will push her, so we hit the crystal only. We do our AoE skill. Playing with fire if you want to try to min-max the spar, but if you're careful about it, you can squeeze a little extra points. The big bang attack from Tori, a whopping 21 million points for hot damn 60 million points. That is one hell of a score, guys. One hell of a score. Not bad for our first time through. This was this is a really good score, and it's very replicable. I think this is a pretty easy team to take it through. There's minimal RNG, just push the buttons in the right order and succeed. It's all about gear. How good of a score you get is going to determine on how good your gear is. Freaking Illusial using Luna. Now remember, you can't use non-attack skills to strip, so he must have done this with Elia's Violin on that Luna. What a mad lad. There's a Bologna on Team 3. Remember, she's got a strip on her S2. That's a good option. Don't forget Haste is a good stripper. Ida has got strips. You can use Ross if you want to go crazy with his S1s. Those strip. There's a lot of options for your strippers. You've also got Janua as a DPS thief if you don't have Tori. You could try it with Celine. That's a little difficult. And for healers, Rowana is a great option as well. Hopefully this team helps you guys get your Dagger Sicar, your top 100, your top 5%, whatever you're looking for. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you guys have a great rest of your week. Take care, Epic 7.